Awesome, thanks. Yeah, once the networking is set up, it should be fun. Bridged will be fun. Alright, there we go. Oh, I need to disable the NAT one. I don't need to now. Not attached. Alright. So we should be good to go now. What is the MAC address of this sucker? FFDD. Alright, so we now have our actual IP address and I'm done playing stupid games with networking. Yeah, I definitely don't have a Discord yet. I've had people ask about it even for gaming. Definitely something I need to set up. I also eventually want a... Yeah, I've got a DS3615 XS. It is a 12-bay NAS that I got a hell of a deal on. And now I have enough storage to last me quite a while. I ended up buying... The guy was locally selling 2 of the NASs with 11 6TB drives for like a couple $100, and I sold the other one for almost as much as I paid for both of them, empty. Yeah, I almost DIY'd it. That's what I was doing in my old 2U server. I had all of my storage set up, but I'm definitely loving this Synology. It makes life so much easier. It takes up a lot more space on the rack than I was planning. It'd also be nice in Discord to post a picture of this rack. I've got it mostly set up. I have a 25U rack in my home office now. Alright, so we do have some HTTP as expected. So let's grab this for the eventual blog post so I don't forget. So, especially on vulnerable VMs, but in general, if port 80 is open, I like to check there first. It's usually the most interesting. It's usually a good foothold, and it'll at least give us some idea of what's going on. We don't care if the cert is expired. That's not the... Did I grab the right... I don't think that this is my Aruba. Did I grab the wrong IP address? We are not going to hack into my Aruba device. I did. Just kidding. We are not hacking into my Aruba. Hey, Gretz. She will definitely help. Yeah, it should be a fun, interesting combination of the people who have been watching gaming and the people who want to watch the security. Let's see if there's anything running on 80. Yeah. I don't really want to hack my own device at the moment. There we go, photographer. Now we are cooking. So gonna grab all of the text. How's the font look on the stream for the terminal? I did increase it on the other one, but I realized it's not that big over here. I think 18 was looking a little better. Yeah, that's not too big for me. Alright, so... Yeah, mobile, I'm sure it's hard. So we do have port 80 open. Again. Oh man, now it's hard for me with this tiny window. Alright, we also have some SMB stuff listed, so we may look at that in a little bit. So, photographer by Vinny Vera. Can't read that much lead. Was it? I may go back because this one's harder for me. Maybe split the difference. This takes up my whole window. Sweet. Alright, we'll go back to 12, because then I can actually read it. Alright, looks like we have some sort of web gallery. Yep, this is the guy who created the VM, so be sure to check him out. Yeah, prep OSCP machine, so this should be interesting for those of you who haven't taken your OSCP. See if we can actually get into it. See if there's any hidden links or anything interesting other than the... We'll check these out, just in case. Also, be sure to check any JavaScript files, especially in CTF or VM machines. While they may look like a standard, you know, jQuery library, I've seen tons of default jQuery libraries that had actual hidden JavaScript code that the application was using. It's a fun trick of CTF creators. Someone is a much better web developer than me and actually has non-default text boxes in there. Alright, so there is some sort of password login functionality. There didn't look to be a login on that main page, we'll have to find that. Oh yeah, that definitely helped. Oh my goodness, can I not come from copy from Streamlabs? Or can I? It's not. Okay, I can. Yeah, that definitely makes life easier. Yeah, I like Streamlabs. It's a nicer OBS, basically. Yeah. The best is it's always my Evernote with a bunch of notes and screenshots, or a bunch of console output and screenshots and no notes. So sometimes I'm like, why did I run this command? Yeah, I'm not a JavaScript developer either, but I can usually muddle my way around enough to find the interesting stuff, which is really what matters for stuff like this. This is all gallery stuff. Alright, nothing interesting there. So there's definitely some login somewhere. Are these actual links? No. Nice to find a hidden admin panel or something like that. Make life easier. And also, while we're here, let's check 8000. Make sure it's a similar. Alright, so we've got a slightly different Koken app. I'm not familiar with that. What? Did this come with its own shell.php? That's interesting. Do you just give us a web shell for free? So port 8000 is also usually for... Oh, that's hex. Yeah, so over here it looks like it's running some sort of Koken CMS. So if this is a web shell it just wants to give us, that would be nice. I mean, yeah, there's sometimes hidden admin panels, or at least just pages that are admin logins that you can try and attack. Not often. We don't just get a free web shell, right? So it looks like... Can we find a version on this Koken? It looks like Koken is vulnerable to an arbitrary file upload. Yep, so... And I guess this will be the best way to share it. So, for those of you playing along at home, it looks like we may have a arbitrary file upload on this Koken. We spelled whitelist wrong in this exploit, but... Oh, look, and it's by the author of this VM. I wonder if this is what we're supposed to be using. Yep, all good ports to check out, and usually even more interesting stuff than 80. So I'm guessing, based on the fact that the author of this VM also posted an O-Day for this Koken, we may be on the right path. Why is he uploading it this way? Okay, we don't have to do it his way exactly. Yep. I will not experience problems, I promise. Yeah, definitely always be wary of links. I'm just including it in the chat so it's there for the VOD. Feel free to search for Koken CMS file upload as well yourself. Come on, Burp. So let's make sure the API is where I expect it to be. No, we don't need the update. This VM has enough RAM to run wonderful burp. Alright, hey, intercept is actually off this time. So that API may not be there, unless it just needs an actual post request. Oh, you're not gonna. Let's send stuff through burp and try and send this post request. Yeah, so burp is a web proxy. It's useful even for development and stuff like that. So I sent the web request from Firefox, but burp is actually able to capture it. And what I can do from here is modify the request as I see fit and send it back to the server. So actually, there's a better request we can grab apparently. There's an import content button that will send the post request for us. Oh, this is an authenticated exploit, so we're skipping too far ahead. So first, we need to get access to this web application. So where is the login page on this web application? everyone's favorite URL/admin. Awesome. So is there any username enumeration on this sucker? Or are we gonna have to find usernames and passwords from one of the other web parts? It also needs an email, which is annoying. So, does Koken have default users? I'm guessing not, since it uses an email address, but let's check. Alright. May need to come back to this if we can't find an email address anywhere. Yep, that's what I'm reading right now myself. So no default users, so we may need to find either a blog post on this fake blog, or we did have a username. I think we had an email address on one of these pages for the author, so is an option for us with a weak password. I thought we saw an email address, I may be lying. May have just been his username. Yeah, that's true. I need to be Googling over here. So first oh my goodness, yes, burp is open. So first I was looking into this Koken CMS software to see if there's any sort of default users or default passwords or things like that. I need to add this cert. So now I'm just adding the burp certificate to Firefox so that errors stops popping up, because we trust the cert. We are the ones intercepting our own traffic. Where's the cert button? Lock. There it is. Alright, so now we should no longer get those errors, but it looks like there is no default usernames. So even in their example, they just set up a local host or a local database account. Is it too laggy? Yeah, it is kind of laggy. Let's see. Where can we put this? Ooh, it's nice and laggy. Sorry, Firefox. You gotta get closed. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're looking for in Stack Overflow too. Oh, I may have crashed the Firefox or the VM entirely. Yeah, close the tabs, whatever. We can come back. All right, let's open that back up. So yeah, I may need to add another window to the stream for the Googles. How do I fit both of these windows without everything being crazy? Oh god. Um, put this one on top. Yeah, now it's nice and super cluttered. Alright. Alright, let's see how that goes. So let's open this back up since we crashed it. Oh yeah, that's why I'm using Firefox and not showing off just how many tabs I have open in my Chrome. It is a real problem. So we want this. So here's the vulnerability we wanted to exploit. Not super easy to see the Firefox window, but just so people have a vague idea of what's happening. So I'm not typing into empty windows. I will figure out a better solution for all this clutter in a bit. Oh, I mean, not as bad as my bookmark situation, which I think I have like 3,000 bookmarks in my security to do folder. It is a real problem. One day I'll to do them. One day. Okay. So we need to find some usernames to guess, or we need to potentially use this for some sort of escalation. I haven't seen anything interesting on port 80, but I also haven't looked into what this template it is. Looks like it may just be a web template, though. So not going to be that useful for us. We already checked these. There is a... In that is either util or main.js, we did see something that was verifying passwords, so there should be some sort of login functionality on this. So yeah, it's looking for some sort of password input. It may not be used, but it is something to keep in mind in case we do find somewhere to log in. We've also got SMB, so we can see if it'll allow for some null sessions. Maybe a username is reused for that web application. Not particularly. Oh, may allow for some. I should have used the host name. We're checking everything over here. So enum for Linux will do SMB enumeration. If you're not familiar with it, it is super convenient for host.allow for null sessions, as you can definitely get some useful information. Oh, I have my script file. I don't need to copy and paste everything right now. I should still do it anyway, so I don't forget. So we've got potentially some open shares. 20 indicates open shares, but let's see if we have anything else. Oh my goodness, I need to give this more RAM. No, S&T photographer server. Am I misreading that? Is that a thing? So there is possibly a Samba share we can look at. Maybe there's something interesting there. Is domain enabled for photographer? Yeah, so we're enabled to enumerate the DISA and AGI users, which we did see when we pulled it up in the VM. So we can try and use those. Unfortunately, we don't know the email domain, so we may not be able to use those to log into the web application yet. But we do at least have them. Oh, so many useless SIDs. So the first web application didn't seem to have a login that we can find, and this one also has a reference to DISA Ahomi. I don't know if that means something in another language. First in Japanese, apparently. Yeah, COVID 2020. Man, that would be fun if passwords start being like that instead of just season year. Oh yeah, on my laptop I definitely had to give Callie all of the RAM and it still was not quite enough. Ahomi doesn't seem to translate to anything as far as I can tell. But DISA means first. Any other ports we haven't looked at yet? Nope, so we need to get that first foothold. So back to this. Can you set them up with local credentials? So this actually just uses the host name. So I'm guessing it would be token user at localhost. So if it's similar, we can try using DISA at localhost. So that didn't error out. Although the regex may just be janky. So why did that first one not give us an error? Oh, it just didn't want to yet. Oh, have you? That's fun. I mean, it's basically season year, only it's a little longer, a little stronger. Oh man. I hope no one in our company is using that, because I don't think any of our bad password checkers will flag on that one yet. That may be a good one to add to the list for a while. Alright, and we can also try, is it ASI? AGI. Yeah, that's a fun one to try. So I'm trying the username and password for the same Unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's any sort of username enumeration. So some websites and applications will give you a different error when you try and log in with a username that exists with the wrong password. So say this AGI at localhost did exist on the system. If it was vulnerable, it may say something like, your password is incorrect, instead of just saying incorrect. So stuff like that is very useful, especially as an attacker, because then we know, hey, this is a valid username. Let's go from there. Makes stuff like password spraying, guessing passwords you know of, much easier. Where'd that Firefox window go? So I want to see if there are any other examples other than this one website that shows how people configure it by default. So a lot of times people will follow a guide like this and they'll actually set the username and password the same way that the guide shows them to. Okay, so this one actually has an email address. That's what I was trying to figure out. So I don't think @localhost is going to be a valid. That's only for the database. So we need to know a domain for these users. It could be the template domain that is mentioned somewhere. Is it down? So there was a domain where it mentioned, although I'm guessing templated is a real domain, not this guy's own one. Although it could be. So let's try this domain for the users. It is referenced. So if we try AGI at templated.co with the password of AGI, or, and I really need to remember these Japanese usernames, Daisa. And let's also try that homie as a password. Alright, so no luck with any of those. So we need to find a way to log into this Koken CMS and likely use that to get our initial foothold. Unfortunately, we need to be authenticated. And none of the example guides use a very default username and password setup. Yeah, we've got we're currently doing a social engineering engagement against our support staff, but it's just vishing, so it's not quite as exciting since we're going in completely blind. I know, seeing Koken would be nice. I wonder if there's another... Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we could also, I mean, there's always the chance of something like SQL injection too. Although I didn't see anything about it, but you never know. Alright, you're not going to just throw ours. Oops, wrong Firefox. So is there anything else other than that? So we're on 22.24. This is a walkthrough, we're not reading that. So let's go back to that shell.php. Maybe we are in a previously compromised system. Maybe someone already hacked our CMS and we're going to follow in through another bad actor. So maybe some hacker got a hold of some credentials and was able to upload their malicious file, and we are following after them. It is called shell.php, which is very suspicious. So it looks like we should be able to just go to it. So, did someone already compromise our system? What is this error from? Is this from Koken or something else? Looks like it's a database error. No. This is a hack the box issue. So is this an issue with a PHP reverse shell? It did not say where it was trying to connect. So did our attacker already upload a reverse shell to it? Let's take a look at that open share we found earlier. Maybe there's something there. I forgot about that. We didn't forget about it. What was it called? So it was called Samba Share. So up here, maybe we'll find something useful here for us. So we have an open share. Hopefully we can connect to it without credentials and see something useful. Backslashes. No password. Alright. Hey, we got some files, so that is good. Let's download them. Ooh, a backup WordPress file. Let's download everything. Do you do? Yeah, you do. Alright, so let's grab these commands so I don't forget. So hopefully we can find something, especially in that WordPress backup file, maybe we can find some credentials or at least something. Let's look at mail sent first. Okay, so the domain looks like it's photographer.com. Yeah, so we have dice at photographer.com and AGI at photographer.com. So Aggie Clarence sent an email to Disa that said, "Your site is ready now. Don't forget your secret, my baby girl." Okay. Maybe the password is either going to be the same as the username or baby girl or password. Yeah, we'll see. Let's look at the WordPress backup. Oh god, this is a full WordPress backup. There's only a sample config file. Is there anything interesting in the WordPress backup that we can use? So WordPress is likely what is used on that port 80 host. Nothing interesting in the config. Alright, let's try and log in with some of those username and password, or some of those usernames we found and guess some passwords. Did I close out all the logins? Yes. Alright, we don't need this. I am unable to grab screenshots easily with VirtualBox because of the snipping tool I use. That is a real annoyance. I use Evernote's web clipping tool, which doesn't like... There we go. Okay. So grabbing a screenshot of this page, so I don't forget. We click through it. Okay, so photographer.com is our domain. So let's try AGI for here. Nope. So we tried AGI at photographer.com with password AGI, DICE at photographer.com with DICE. Let's try that baby girl string, since if we look at it again, it was A, where it says don't forget your secret, and it also doesn't have a space, and this person seems to have fairly good grammar, so maybe that is a hint. Oh, and I see Lopi post in chat that as well. So let's see. Oh! Alright, so now we have admin, or at least we have this account. I assume it's admin. So, don't email passwords in plain text. That is what that step taught us all. So now we should be able to upload. Yeah, it was baby girl. So the username was dice at photographer.com and the password was baby girl. So don't email passwords in plain text. That is this lesson. So now that we have this, we are going to try and use this exploit posted by the VM author to try and actually get a command shell on the box. Where's the upload? I need to read that better. Import content button. Oh, there it is. Oh, we have to actually create our file. So let's create our PHP web shell. Very basic command shell. So I did that really quickly. So what this will do if the web server will execute PHP code is if you go to a URL that has a CMD parameter at the end, it will actually execute your command on the system. So I'll show that off once we upload it. So this application is supposed to only accept these file types, but since we named our file image.php.jpg, it handles it just fine, and then the backend web application will execute the file for us. So it will accept it since it ends in .jpg, but the actual Apache web server will execute it for us. Where do you go? Oh, we actually have to rename it. So, I lied. So, if we read the exploit, we would see that the file extension checking is just done client side. So, we intercept the request, and then we rename the file to image.php, which is why it actually executes on the server. Alright, so we'll turn this on. We will import content. So right now it checks on the client side whether it ends in .jpg or whatever ping the other ones. But if we intercept our request, like we see here, and we rename the file to image.php, it will still be uploaded just fine. Oh, that's Firefox. We don't need that. So it should come back successful. And our image.php file successfully uploaded. So now we need to... Are you right here? How do I see where you uploaded exactly? Oh, we can just hover over download file, which is right here. So as we see, even though it checked for image files initially, it uploaded as image.php. So if we look at this in a new tab, screenshot. Grab exploit link. Okay. So now that we look at it, it should be a blank file, but if we remember, that file we upload actually should execute anything we put in the CMD parameter. So this should show us the output of the ID command, which on Linux will show you your groups and your usernames and whatnot. So we now have at least some command access as www data or Apache. So now we will grab a Python. We do. Okay, so now we're going to use a command to send a shell back to our attacking box so we can interact with it better. Oh wait, Python is so long. Let's just use a bash reverse shell since that's easier to type out. I'm lazy. So what this command will do is send a reverse shell from bash back to our attacker box, assuming that it has the right version. So it seems to have worked. Oh man, is it not going to do a bash reverse shell? It may also want it encoded. He was right, port was right. Oh, we need to encode the... So that did not work because I put regular ampersands in, so it actually thought it was part of the URL, so I need to put A26. Firefox does not always encode stuff for you. So let's try 26 before we try a different web shell. Another trick you can do is, while you have burp open, burp has a handy encoder and decoder. So what we can do is, we can URL encode the whole thing just to make sure none of our spaces or symbols are breaking everything. The slashes were also probably breaking things. So what you can do is, you can encode as URL, get this nice URL encoded string, and hopefully that solves our problems, since we were too lazy before. Nope. Alright. We'll use Python. Oh, wrong Firefox window. And I don't remember all of the flags offhand, so we're going to grab Pentest Monkeys, because his web shells are awesome. Oh yeah, burp will do it too. What? What? Just his regular web shell. That's what I'm looking for. So we're going to use this nice long Python reverse shell, which is hard to see here, but I will also dump a link in chat once I copy and paste it. So we're going to use Pentest Monkeys reverse shells because they're awesome and we're lazy. And I already forgot our IP address. 5.132. So this nice long string will make Python send a socket connection back to our attacker box on port 4444 and allow us to send commands over to bin sh on our target, which is what we want. So we can run more commands and try and actually get root on this box. So this should take a long time if it works, since it's a reverse shell. The PHP or the HTTP request will never be able to finish since it's currently hanging, waiting for the web shell to the reverse shell to complete. So usually if you send a reverse shell connection and your web browser hangs, usually a good sign. So if we hop on over, we are likely to see. I'm just grabbing all of my output, but we should have this reverse shell. I'll let the anticipation build while I grab my notes. Yep, so now we should have a shell, and it should be www data as it was when it was in the actual web browser. So I think there's actually a user flag file, since this is an OSCP box. So this is our upload directory, so if we take a look, That's our uploaded malicious file, so we've got a shell. So this command will just make my life easier when typing commands. I'll be able to use tab completion and whatnot. I'm trying to get a more real terminal. Did I do that wrong? What? There we go. Okay, so now we'll be able to use tab completion and whatnot. It'll be a little easier on us. So let's go all the way back up. We don't really care that much about Koken anymore since it got us where we need to be. So there's an index.html.old. That could be interesting. So we found that elements.html, the generic already, and the index. Old backup files could always be useful. They have passwords, they may have just anything interesting. So always check out backup files. Like we downloaded that WordPress backup file. So this is actually just a default Apache file. I know that just from looking at it, so we don't really care about that. We can look in assets. We already went there. So likely nothing useful here. So let's see if there's anything in the home directory, especially that we can read. So there are those AGI and DICE users, but it looks like their home directories are readable to us. So let's see if there's anything there interesting. Grab that command output for the blog post. Where's AGI? So share is that first directory we looked at. Yep, so this was actually where that share file was, where we downloaded these two files initially. So this is the AGI user. Yep. There also is a little bit of a bash history, so that's always fun to look at. See if I found plain text passwords that people have accidentally typed into their console, things like that. Oh, we actually don't have read permissions, just to the directory. So downloads has been updated recently, so let's see if there's anything there. Nope. Alright. Let's take a look at DICE. Okay, so there's a user.txt file. I'm guessing that's our first flag. So if you've taken the OSCP or are thinking about it, you will run into situations like this. So you are required to grab a flag as a low privilege user and a flag as a high privilege user. So now we grab our flag. And it looks like this DICE user actually has pseudo privileges. So our goal is likely to go from www data, which is our Apache user, over to the DICE user, and then sudo as that user to escalate to root. So let's see if anything is set suid. So if the set user ID bit is set on an executable file, it means that that file will actually execute as the user who owns it. So this is a common vector of privilege escalation, primarily in CTFs and vulnerable VMs like this, but you can run across it in the wild. More often than not in the wild, at least from what I've seen, it's actually exploits and not crappy commands. But I have seen companies build their own binaries for stuff like easy pseudo wrappers or networking tool wrappers that were suid, and then I was able to use them to escalate on these boxes. So it is something at least you can run across sometimes. That's fishy. That's real fishy. So a lot of these are fairly common. So sudo has to be suid because you have to run commands as root for suid. Ping is fairly common because it requires networking stuff. Ping 6 is the same amount as well. PHP, not usually set, and also you can execute commands in PHP. If you remember how to run PHP commands inline. Exec, that's what I'm looking for. Nope, that's Windows. There's a flag for PHP to run, so basically what we want regular PHP? Is that the only PHP? Okay, so if we take a look at that PHP binary, we can see that it's actually owned by root, and that SUID, that S bit right there, is set. So whenever anyone executes this PHP binary, it will be run as root. So I don't remember how to run PHP inline. There's a flag that will allow us to run PHP code right in the, is it R? Is it this one I want? Oh, cool, I can only hit enter. My TTY is not that real. So I think -R is, alright, we're just going to use Google. I know this window is very small. I think the flag I want is PHP-R. And that will allow us to just run PHP code. Yes, without using script tags. Okay, so we want PHP-R, and let's just run system ID just to see if it works, because I think my flags are still a little messed up. Okay, so that did work. Why did it come out as www data though? The system command may not take privileges from SUID. So we may need to use shell exec. So let's try shell exec, see if that's the one we need. That didn't work at all. Do we need the full command? Oh, we need the output. I forgot shell exec. So the shell exec command, while it may work, it actually sends. So let's just try and execute it instead of doing the output. So let's see if shell exec will take it. So if this executes, we should execute binsh using the SUID bit, so it should come back as root if we don't need the output. Or we'll be stuck in some sort of weird PHP loophole. That didn't quite work. Maybe we don't want shell exec. So there are a few different PHP functions that can be used, and they work differently, and I always mix them up. So yeah, shell exec will exec grab our SUID bit. So the system command is working for us. That's the only one it seems to want to respect. Oh, okay. So while the ID command didn't want to take the privilege, just executing binsh using that system command did come back. And as you can see, we're actually now the root user on this box. So since PHP was set UID for the root, whenever we ran the PHP command, it executed as the root user. And since we just executed a shell, we were able to get root access and lose our copy and paste privileges, which is annoying. But now we can go to the whoop. Nope. We lost our reverse shell at one point. So that executed on my box. So I was able to successfully root myself. While good, always a fun catch. Any of you have done the OSCP, you may have done it yourself. Alright, apparently I've appear to have lost all mouse control. Most mouse, there we go, okay. So, we need to resend that reverse shell and actually execute those commands on our target. Okay, so we're back in. Now we need to okay, there we go. Unexpected. We need to actually end it in a semicolon. Let's clear this up a little bit so it's not so long. Okay, so now when we run the PHP, it should execute as root, and we should actually be able to oh, I forgot the semicolon again. Okay. So what we need is, it's not executing the privileges. So I think there's another flag we need. Okay, -P. So that will actually use the privilege mode, and that should accept our suid bit. And when I hit Control C here, that's what killed it last time. So what we need to run is bin sh, and I don't know if system requires us to have a comma. It does.
This is me writing songs of a love forgone, but I guess I had to. Now we became two.
Okay, so
I read so ready 3 pages and 2 years of my life. Look what you made me do. I smile no thanks to you. You can't take your pretty face and march outside. I opened the door for you.
why did that not work? It should have taken our -P flag and made us, assuming we're executing the right command. I need to check that again. That's very wrong. Okay. So so we need to actually execute the full. So there was more than one PHP. I managed to miss that and mess up. So we want this PHP. This is the one that was set UID before. So there's more than one version of PHP on this system, and only one is set with the suid bit. So now, oh, we want the system command. So now, we are still www data. So we want to escalate using this suid PHP command, and it is suid root. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to want to take that -P flag. I don't know if some of these PHP commands, you actually need to separate your parameters into different, your command line parameters into different parameters to the system call, and I always forget which ones require which.
Do you get tired of your misery? It's on repeat daily. It ain't gonna change over time.
So pass-through should also work.
Have you thought
So the -P flag is what we needed before to accept the SUID bit. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to want to like the commands we are using. Yeah, you're just complaining about SUID bits. Shell exec will return the output. I think that'll just get us stuck in that loop again. Yeah, shell exec is looking for a variable to put the output to, so that is not the right command that we want. Oh, I know what command we need. So pnctl exec will actually replace the process with the current process. So then -h will stay in the current process space and it will keep its root privileges. So this is actually the one we want. Okay, and this is one that has arguments. So now we should be cooking. How do we pass the parameters? Is it just... I think we need to... Okay, so it does need to be an array. So we want an array for -P. Make sure we get all of our quotes and nonsense right. Okay, so now we actually have an EUID shell 0. So while our current user ID is 33 for www data, we are a root user. So if we go to root, we're able to see everything. And if we look at the proof.txt, we get some nice little ASCII art that looks better and bigger. Consoles, looks like some sort of Punisher logo, and the flag that we were looking for. So we rooted this box. Took a little while with all of the PHP mistypes and nonsense, but we got low privilege user. We got username enumeration or username leaking via an open Samba share. We used those usernames and a plain text password we found in the Samba share to get access to the Koken CMS. The Koken CMS was vulnerable to an arbitrary file upload. We used that to upload a PHP command shell. From there, we grabbed a reverse shell and used a SUID PHP binary to escalate to root and completely pop this photographer VM. So that is it for this box. Now we just grab notes and eventually write our blog post. So that was a fun one. Yeah. So yeah, for those of you who came over from Gaming Stuff, we managed to completely hack this purposely vulnerable machine, but we went from just seeing some websites to we have full command over this server now. Let me update all of my notes. So I actually need a screenshot of the admin login. Oh, we have to log out so I can grab the screenshot. Alright. So hopefully that was an enjoyable, and that was kind of a fun VM. Definitely very similar to stuff you'll see in the OSCP or CTFs. I mean, not terrible from a real world idea. I mean, you'll see open shares in the real world. I think the least real world thing I've never seen a SUID PHP binary, but I mean, I've seen SUID awk, I've seen similar stuff that for that last step of privilege escalation someone misconfigured, some system admin misconfigured to make their life easier and enabled someone to escalate to root on the box. Let's close all of our Koken tabs out. Make sure my notes are updated. Yeah, I've done that before, plenty of times. And Chrome does not ask you if you want to close 347 tabs where Firefox does. Although, I mean, I probably shouldn't have 300 tabs open at a time, but that feels more like Chrome's fault than my fault.